At first glance, she looks like an ordinary doll, the kind you might find tucked away in a grandmother's attic or perched on a shelf in a child's bedroom, her porcelain face frozen in a gentle, almost sweet expression. Her dress is simple, her hair neatly styled, and her eyes, though glassy, seem to hold a certain innocence. To the untrained eye, Annabelle appears to be nothing more than a relic of childhood, a silent witness to years gone by. But as with so many things in life, appearances can be deceiving. There's a reason why, even among collectors of antique dolls, Annabelle's name is spoken with a mixture of fascination and fear. But behind that innocent face lies one of the most terrifying true stories ever told. Her name is Annabelle, and her story is not just a tale whispered around campfires or dramatized in horror films. It is a chilling account that has been documented, investigated, and retold by some of the most respected names in the world of the paranormal. Annabelle's legend began in the early 1970s when a young nursing student received the doll as a gift from her mother. At first, the doll seemed to bring comfort and nostalgia, a reminder of childhood and home. But soon, strange things began to happen. The doll would appear in different positions, sometimes even in different rooms, as if she had moved on her own. Notes written in a childlike scroll began to appear around the apartment, pleading for help. The young woman and her roommate were unnerved, but it wasn't until they sought the help of a medium that the true horror of Annabelle's presence was revealed. The medium claimed that the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins had attached itself to the doll, seeking comfort and companionship. But as the disturbances grew more violent, scratches, attacks, and a sense of overwhelming dread, the women realized that what inhabited the doll was something far more sinister than a lost child's spirit. Annabelle's reputation as a symbol of evil and cursed objects was cemented when renowned paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren were called in to examine the case. The Warrens, who would later become famous for their work on the Amityville Horror and the Enfield Poltergeist, immediately recognized the danger posed by the doll. They determined that Annabelle was not possessed by a human spirit at all, but was instead being manipulated by a demonic entity, one that sought to sow chaos, fear, and suffering. The Warrens took Annabelle into their care, locking her away in a specially constructed glass case in their occult museum, where she remains to this day. Visitors to the museum report feeling an intense sense of unease in her presence, and the Warrens themselves warned that Annabelle's power should never be underestimated. Over the years, Annabelle has become more than just a haunted doll. She's a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that evil can sometimes wear the most innocent of faces. Her story has inspired countless books, documentaries, and films, capturing the imagination of people around the world. But for those who have encountered her, Annabelle is not just a story. She is a chilling reality, a testament to the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected places. As we begin our journey into the world of Annabelle, remember, sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that look the most harmless. The story begins in the 1970s, when a young woman named Donna received a rag doll as a gift. At first, everything seemed normal, but soon, strange things started happening. The doll would move on its own, sometimes in the dead of night, change positions around the apartment, and mysterious notes appeared, written on parchment paper in childlike handwriting, chilling everyone. One day, Donna even found drops of blood on the doll's hands. Worried, she called a spiritual medium, who claimed the doll was possessed by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle. In the shadow world of the supernatural, few names command as much respect and as much fear as Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned for their relentless pursuit of the truth behind the world's most chilling hauntings. The Warrens were called upon in the 1970s to investigate a case that would become one of the most infamous in paranormal history. The case began innocently enough. A seemingly ordinary doll, gifted to a young woman, began to exhibit strange and unsettling behavior. At first, the occurrences were subtle. Objects moved from their places, notes appeared in childish handwriting, and the doll itself seemed to change positions when no one was watching. The family, desperate for answers, reached out to the Warrens, hoping for a rational explanation. But as Ed and Lorraine Warren delved deeper into the case, they quickly realized that what they were dealing with was far more terrifying than anyone had anticipated. The air in the house grew heavy, and an unexplainable chill seemed to follow the investigators from room to room. Lorraine, known for her psychic sensitivity, reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread whenever she was near the doll. Ed, ever the skeptic, meticulously documented every incident, but even he could not deny the mounting evidence that something truly sinister was at play. The Warrens began to piece together the disturbing puzzle. The notes left behind were not the innocent scribblings of a child, but rather messages that grew increasingly threatening and bizarre. The handwriting, though childlike, carried a malevolent undertone. The doll's eyes, once glassy and lifeless, now seemed to follow anyone who entered the room, their gaze cold and unblinking. The family recounted nights filled with whispers, footsteps in empty hallways, and the feeling of being watched by something unseen. The Warrens knew that the spirit attached to the doll was not what it appeared to be. After days of investigation, the truth became horrifyingly clear. The entity attached to the doll was not the spirit of a lost child seeking comfort or companionship. Instead, it was something ancient and malevolent, a demonic entity, cunning and manipulative, pretending to be a child's spirit in order to gain the trust of the living. Its goal was not to communicate, but to deceive, to sow fear, and ultimately to possess. The Warrens recognized the signs: the escalating violence, the oppressive atmosphere, the way the entity fed on the family's fear. They knew that if left unchecked, the demon's influence would only grow stronger, putting everyone in the house in grave danger. With great care and solemnity, Ed and Lorraine Warren removed the doll from the home, sealing it in a blessed cloth and transporting it to the Occult Museum, where it would be kept under strict supervision. The family, though shaken, was finally free from the entity's grasp. But the Warrens knew that the battle against evil was never truly over. The doll, now locked away behind glass, served as a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the veil of our everyday lives, a darkness that sometimes wears the most innocent of faces. And so, the legend of the demonic entity, pretending to be a child spirit, was born, a story that continues to haunt and terrify to this day. The Warrens sealed Annabelle inside a glass case in their occult museum with a warning that reads, "Do not open, for God's sake." Over the years, people who mocked or touched the case reportedly suffered accidents, and well, some even died mysteriously afterward. So, is Annabelle truly cursed, or just a story exaggerated by Hollywood? One thing certain, She's now one of the most famous haunted dolls in the world. As you sit there, perhaps in the comfort of your own home, maybe with the lights dimmed and the shadows stretching across the walls, I want you to take a moment and truly reflect. What do you believe? Not just about the stories you've heard tonight, but about the very nature of the unknown. Do you think that the world is as simple as it seems? Or do you suspect that there are layers beneath the surface? Layers filled with secrets, mysteries, and things that defy explanation. Throughout history, people have been drawn to tales of the supernatural, the haunted, and the inexplicable. We gather around campfires, we huddle together in darkened rooms, and we share stories that send chills down our spines. But why? Is it because we crave the thrill of fear? Or is it because, deep down, we know that there are things in this world that science cannot yet explain? Tonight, we've explored the legend of Annabelle, a story that has fascinated and terrified people for decades. Some say she's just a doll, an inanimate object made of cloth and stuffing, with painted eyes that seem to follow you wherever you go. Others insist that she is something far more sinister, a vessel for a dark force, a conduit for evil, a cursed relic that brings misfortune to anyone who crosses her path. The Warrens, renowned paranormal investigators, claimed that Annabelle was responsible for a series of terrifying events, scratches, nightmares, and even near-fatal accidents. They locked her away in a glass case, warning the world never to underestimate the power of the unknown. But skeptics argue that it's all just a myth, a story blown out of proportion, a clever fabrication designed to scare and entertain. So, I ask you again, is Annabelle real or just a myth? Your opinion matters. The world of the paranormal is shaped not just by the stories themselves, but by the people who hear them, question them, and pass them on. Maybe you've had your own experiences, strange noises in the night, objects moving on their own, a feeling of being watched when you're alone. Or maybe you're a skeptic, someone who demands evidence and rational explanations. Either way, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, have you ever encountered something you couldn't explain? Do you believe that objects can be haunted? Or do you think it's all just the power of suggestion and imagination? Share your thoughts, your stories, your doubts, and your fears. This channel is a community, a place where believers and skeptics alike can come together to discuss the mysteries that make our world so endlessly fascinating. And if you enjoyed this story, if you found yourself looking over your shoulder or feeling a shiver run down your spine, don't forget to show your support. Hit the like button to let me know you want more tales like this. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode, because there are so many more mysteries to uncover, so many more stories to tell. Every week we dive into the unknown, exploring haunted places, cursed objects, and the chilling accounts of those who have come face to face with the supernatural. By subscribing, you become part of a community that isn't afraid to ask questions, to seek the truth, and to confront the things that most people would rather ignore. And stay tuned for more terrifying paranormal mysteries. The world is full of them. Stories that have been whispered for generations, secrets hidden in the shadows, and encounters that defy explanation. From haunted houses to cursed artifacts, from ghostly apparitions to unexplained phenomena, there's always something new to discover. So keep your mind open, your curiosity alive, and your lights just a little bit brighter, because you never know what might be lurking in the darkness, waiting to be found. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are true.